Welcome to Rough Drafts, How God Writes His Love in Our Stories, a podcast that explores the faith journeys of our friends and neighbors in Burns, Tennessee. Everyone has a story to tell, and in this podcast, we'll hear powerful and inspiring stories of how God works in the ordinary lives of people like you and me. Our stories are unfinished and perfectly imperfect. They are just rough drafts, a glimpse of what is to come because God is still at work, writing plot twists, introducing new characters, and bringing good even from the most challenging circumstances. Join us as we see what God is up to in our stories. Here's your host, Matthew Hyatt.
You know, every show has special episodes sometimes. You know, there's the infamous Star Wars Christmas special. And you don't see a whole lot of shows that get Mother's Day specials. So I thought Rough Drafts could be a groundbreaker that way. So today we have a Mother's Day special of Rough Drafts. And to do that, I thought we'd bring in a really special guest, Jason Bennett. because that feels just right. And I guess I thought if that was the case, we probably should bring his actual wife, Megan.
I'd hope so.
And there's another guest with us, a third guest with us today. Do you want to introduce the third guest?
We have our little boy, Brooks Bennett, and so far he is content. So we'll see how this goes.
See how long that lasts.
Yeah.
I thought it would just be super fun. You have one of the freshest babies in the church. You've been growing the church the old-fashioned way. It's super good.
Not in the church, like you said, though.
We appreciate you not making or having the baby in church. Those are two things. You know, in youth ministry, they tell you there's two rules of youth ministry. Don't add to the population and don't take away from the population. So if you do those two things right, you're probably doing okay. I just thought it'd be fun. How old is Brooks now?
4 weeks tomorrow.
4 weeks. How are you guys holding
4 weeks
up?
yesterday. Oh, my gosh.
Mom brain.
Yep. Mom brain is still
I thought it was Sunday.
I think this is a Tuesday.
Definitely too.
I'm not real sure anymore.
Well, that sums it up.
So how are things going?
Going great, other than forgetting everything.
That's all right. So how has the adjustment been?
It's been good.
Yeah,
He's a good baby.
it's been really good. Just one of those things that it's just a new normal, and you just learn and just do it.
Yeah. You know, when ours were really little and we're all freaked out and anxious, sometimes Leslie and I would say, just remember that people in Africa with dirt floors have been having babies for thousands of years. We can do this.
Absolutely.
It's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
So do you want to tell us any of your story about little guy and life and God and how we got to where we are today without too many details?
I guess we could start where we met.
Yeah.
How we met.
Yeah, we met back in 2014. Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Making his debut.
But yeah, we met in 2014. I moved to Fairview after graduating college and went to church at the Fairview Church of Christ and knew her sister and brother-in-law, and we were friends for a while, and eventually they played matchmaker, and we met. You know, we knew of each other's existence for several months.
Is that what you wrote on like your first Valentine's Day card? I'm glad
there was a little bit of Facebook stalking. I'm not afraid.
He made Facebook stalking a whole new level.
I may have.
Go back and look at his old profile pictures.
Yeah,
Explains everything.
There might have been some dedicated profile pictures to catch her attention.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I think this episode just got some new show images if I can get to them before Jason deletes them.
Absolutely.
They've been used against me before, so. But yeah, then we finally met and got married, and here we are. Yeah.
First comes love, and comes the baby in the baby carriage. Yeah. So what did you notice about Jason when you guys first found each other?
He was different.
Oh, he's different.
No, he's loyal and he's steady, and I needed that in my life.
Yeah.
Being someone who tends to be on the more anxious side, I needed someone that was more steady to kind of keep me grounded. And that was like an instant connection, I feel like.
And he's rocking that baby just perfectly.
Got it. Steady.
Just perfect. What'd you notice about Megan?
I saw that she was a very genuine person, very kind-hearted, just very authentic. Like as soon as I met her, I didn't have any doubts of, who she wanted to be. I knew that she loved God, she loved family, just something I couldn't pass up. So
bad. Do I need to give you 2 a minute?
We're good for a while.
I'll watch the baby. We've had all of those we can have. Yeah, we're full up on the 4 weeks. Good grief. Okay, it's way too soon to think about a brother.
Absolutely.
Oh boy. So tell me a little bit about your God story.
Well, I want you to picture the old-fashioned, tiny, small town church, little girls with, fancy homemade dresses. That was me. Baptist, grew up. Papa's a preacher. Family is all involved. That was just my childhood. And my mom took us by herself for 12 years. My dad started going to church. He had a bad history. So, that was every Sunday, every Wednesday we went to church. It was constant. That's just how I grew up.
It's a big deal that your mom made the effort to get you guys there.
Absolutely. Dad never said no. He never made her feel bad for going. He just had a really bad history with it.
Yeah.
But now he goes every Sunday. He's a big part of their church now.
And Jason, you grew up going to church.
Yep.
And at college, you were part of a student ministry, if I remember right.
Right, and that's kind of where I started to grow and really understand what community, what church was all about. Growing up, went every Sunday, but didn't grow up in a youth group or go to church camps or anything like that. We just didn't have the demographics for that at the time. And but college, finally met some great people there. My roommate at college, John, was definitely a big part of that. He was one of my RAs in the dorms, and we got to talking, and I knew of the Church of Christ Student Center there, but I was kind of afraid as a new freshman. I was kind of afraid just to walk up and meet all these new people. But meeting him outside of that scenario, and he invited me, and the rest was history. Got baptized shortly after that, and went on a mission trip to Montana, and just so many great things. So I think that was a major building block in my faith.
So what were some of the building blocks in yours, Megan?
I think just the consistency of every Sunday, having Papa as a backbone. I didn't have the best high school life. I was bullied a lot, so that kind of wavered my faith. But having that backbone of family, because I had the same issue he did. I didn't have a youth group. I didn't go to camp growing up. So I didn't have a lot of friends at church because it was mainly a family church, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's good and bad.
Yeah.
But just having the family is to fall back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys get together.
Yep.
And here we are today.
Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the story of this little guy.
Well, we wanted a kid, 3 to 4 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And, we tried for a while, and doctor was like, all the tests, all the fun stuff. They started off slow. They didn't want it to conclusion. They said sometimes it takes a while. But last May, actually, we got the diagnosis of PCOS. And I know I've been told all the things, like, you can still have kids, if it's God's will, it's God's will. I get it. But when you're in that moment, it does not help. You're just being told that you may not be able to have kids. So we pretty much stopped and just took a break, and then less than a year later, here's little man.
Yeah.
They were just about to start doing treatments, though, the IVF. They were talking about them, and I'm like,
Didn't really want to go down.
I really didn't want to do that because it's already been such a long road of ups and downs and tests and weight loss, all the fun stuff. I just didn't want to
Yeah, and on top of that, they said if you do get pregnant, it'll be a very tough pregnancy. There could be a lot of complications and
And
things
delivery,
like that.
they said a baby could have a lot of issues. So we just
And here you are, and you look good, and he looks good, and Jason looks like
perfect.
Jason.
Yeah.
I'm great.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that if you want.
Yeah.
So, this is Mother's Day,
Mhm.
and I know you've only had the little critter breathing air for like 4 weeks. But what has having this child done for your faith, for your view, for what's changed?
That's a big question. I feel complete because I've always wanted a kid. You know what? Take that back. I haven't always wanted a kid. I didn't want to have kids till I met him. His steadiness made me want to have a family. Because before I had a family, but none of the guys I dated gave me that consistency. But he gave me that steadiness where I felt, okay, I could be a mom. I can have a family. And then it was one of those things to where you prayed for it for so long, and now that it's here in front of you, the hard days just don't feel like they're hard. They're hard, but they're not hard. It's hard to explain.
It's kind of a weird mix.
It's the craziest thing ever, because I had all the you just wait till they don't cry, wait till the night. You just wait till they start crawling, and I just don't listen to those because I just see it as he's an answered prayer,
When we had Caleb, I remember Leslie and I were talking about how we felt like 90% of the marriage advice people gave us was garbage, so we just assumed that 90% of the parenting advice was also garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just kind of got to.
It's one of those things where they have good intentions, but sometimes you just don't. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different journey and views things differently.
You just got to create your own story.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what's kind of fun about doing this podcast is hearing stories and sharing stories. And I know this may be a little weird to do this when your baby's 4 weeks old, but y'all are right in the thick of, wow, the world is changing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many different types of moms and dads. There's the, I'll be honest, like I love my kids. I love them more and more as they grew and they started having more personality and you could do things with them. Babies don't do a whole lot for me. I mean, okay, it's fun to hold one for 5 minutes. And, so when ours came out, it wasn't like, I'm in love. It was more like, he's here. I'm happy. I'm excited. But then the first times that they could look at you and say, Daddy or Mama, or, actually kind of hug you back. Or I remember some of the first times that, they'd be crying and they'd find your hand, not your hand, one finger is all they could hold. And they'd hold your finger and they'd stop crying. And those are cool moments,
Well, you start crying.
Yeah.
Every time I do. Already.
Yeah, and I definitely look forward to those moments. But I was terrified of this stage. I was like, this is probably the second baby I've held in my life, and and being in the hospital, and he has to rely on me to change diapers, who has never changed diapers.
Yeah,
and Megan's just laying in the bed watching me, trying to figure this out, and it's a fun process, and a lot of learning, and but you get attached so quickly, and you just it just comes natural, like I can do this, and it's gonna be hard, but
it's gonna be good.
You see you see God's creation, you see His goodness and answered prayers, and
hang on, you did not see God's goodness in those first tar diapers. I'm just saying.
I've erased that from my memory.
Okay. You really have to, because nobody prepares you for like, am I going to rip this kid's like butt off trying to clean this up?
I was like, don't they have special wipes for this?
Like, they have a pressure washer in here? And even that feeling of like, this child is so fragile. When you buckle them in the car seat for the first time, you're trying to make the arms go in the right places and you're driving home. That drive is kind of unlike any other drive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that feeling. We were leaving the parking lot, and I just started crying. Not sadness. It was just joy, anxiousness.
Yeah.
All the change. The fact that he's already old enough to leave the hospital. It was just.
Yeah. You
all the emotions.
Yeah, you enter as a family of 2, and now you're a family of 3.
Yeah.
And that's
Huge.
big.
What are some of the things that people have done that have been the most helpful for you guys?
Can I tell Lucas' story, please? He doesn't even know this yet.
I'm sorry that I almost did this, but yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
We were at the hospital. It was like he was fresh, like 1 day postpartum.
I was on
We were sleep deprived.
30 minutes of sleep. So
You know, nurses are coming in harassing us every 2 seconds. Okay, we have cameras on our house. Okay, we get alert that someone's at our house, and normally someone just drives by and leaves, but we couldn't tell who it was because our cameras don't have the best vision. This person's all up in our backyard, going towards our shed, like looking around on the phone with someone. So we're thinking, crap, someone's trying to rob his shed was unlocked. He had thousands of dollars worth of tools in his shed unlocked. So we're thinking, oh my gosh, someone's trying to rob us. And this person leaves, and then like an hour later comes back, is on the phone. We're like, okay, he's staging it. Like he's planning, he's getting a gang. So he has the non-emergency police department line on his phone talking to him. And then at the same time, he's on his iPad and he's like, wait, Lucas drives an orange Jeep, right? I said, yeah, I think so. He's like, this is Lucas.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, Lucas is putting our hose up and he's starting to do yard work. Like
I was like, thieves don't put our stuff in order.
What sort of criminal is picking up your sticks?
So he's on the phone with the lady, and he's like, well, I'm so sorry I wasted your time, but he's actually one of our friends doing yard work.
Yeah, while we're in the hospital, trying to figure out this whole new parenting journey. So, yeah. So that's what no sleep does to you.
So Lucas doesn't know this story.
He does not.
No.
I can't wait.
So Lucas did yard work. He did all the cleaning up of the beds, and then John Gabriel came and mowed our yard for us.
That's awesome.
That was huge.
Yes.
Because, right, springtime, you can't keep up with it.
I would have bailed you out of jail if they end up taking you in.
Yeah.
But
That would have been the best thing ever. We had gotten arrested.
The lesson is we were so sleep deprived. You just don't know what's going on. I mean, so you have the doctor coming in every 2 seconds, nurses coming in, lactation coming in.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff.
So I asked you what people have done that has been helpful, and you responded with, I had someone arrested who tried to help me.
Almost arrested.
And no one's going to help us ever again.
Yeah.
No, yard work while we're gone was really huge. People came and cleaned our house before we came home. The meals were huge.
Yeah, I would even go back to before the pregnancy journey of when we first got the diagnosis and things like that. People were very genuine with their prayers, talking to us. I know Megan got tons of texts and calls about just helping her to deal with that news, and that was big. So telling our story to our small groups and stuff, that was very helpful. And
At the time we were still are in, but the Andy Scott Coons group. And that's kind of when we opened up for the first time.
yeah, and and they've been big followers of throughout the pregnancy, checking in and stuff, and so just having all that was so helpful. And
You need it when you get punched in the gut like that.
yeah, didn't get the like, oh, it's good, don't worry, it's going to happen someday. They were truly there for us.
That's awesome.
And that's a great thing about the Burns Church. There people are just so good at doing those type of things.
Yeah. There's a lot of good people,
Oh, man.
even if you tried and have them go to jail.
Sorry, Lucas.
That would have been so good. I'm so
And he's volunteering at the jail too, so they would have been so confused.
he walks in, like, well, here you go. See yourself to a cell,
Why are you volunteering with handcuffs on?
Yeah, it's super weird. It's one way to do 24/7 jail ministry, I guess. Man.
We love you, Lucas.
We
Sorry.
do, a lot.
Yes, we do. Morgan, we're sorry. Was there anything else you guys would like to share today?
Can't think of anything.
I'm just thankful we came to Burns and
Yeah.
our journeys led us here because I've grown triple since coming here.
Yeah, we look forward to the epic future youth group that is coming up.
Holy
So-
cow, though. That cradle roll is going to be crowded here soon.
We actually had an education meeting like last week trying to figure out what we're going to do on classroom space, and it's a fun problem to have,
It's going to be really cool.
So,
Mhm.
I'm excited to be a part of it.
and just to know that your child will be growing up with Lucas's child,
Oh, man.
like, go ahead and put some bail money in a drawer where someone can find it and get to it already.
That's a good idea.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being a part of this kind of brief episode.
Yeah.
But we can't keep the sleep-deprived ones up too much longer. And plus, I think have I already put him to sleep?
You did.
He's out.
Yes. It's an honor for a preacher to be one of the first to put children to sleep. So, they're doing what the rest of us wish we could do. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, I can't wait to hear what God's up to in your story.
Thanks for listening to Rough Drafts. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review. Until next time, let's keep looking for how God writes His love into our stories.